All right, good morning. Shawn here with TowBoatUS Plymouth and TowBoatUS Cape Cod. So today we're actually sitting right by Hog Island Channel, right outside of Onset, Mass Maritime, west end of the canal. Everybody's familiar with it. They're probably familiar with the famous wind against current chop. So what we're going to kind of talk about is a little bit of safety for Buzzard's Bay. So anybody that's been boating around here knows that you can actually go from Cape Cod Bay, have about a 6-inch chop, ride the current through the canal, think you're doing great because you're flying through the canal with the current, and then they meet the southwest wind against that current in Hog Island Channel. And then before you know it, you're faced with 6-7 foot standing waves at the end of Hog Island Channel. So we'll kind of talk a little bit about that. First off, you can give us a call anytime you want. Give TowBoatUS a call on 16, channel 9. You can call us on our landline, which is 508-295-2226. We pretty much have a boat out here every day. Today we have 2 on this side. But we usually have 1 boat at least. We can give you an on-scene report of the conditions, and you look for alternate plans. So a good spot to pull in sometimes, if you're coming through the canal with that current and you're going to meet that southwest wind in the afternoon with Buzzard's Bay, there are a couple of spots you can pull in. One, you can pull into Onset. They have an anchorage area, also have moorings. I'm pretty sure they'll take boats up to 50 feet. Another spot you can find anchorage is in Finney's Harbor. You just have to call the Bourne Harbor Master, request permission to anchor, and you can make your way over to Finney's Harbor. If you have a smaller boat, you can contact Taylor Point Marina. Sometimes they have some transient slips in behind Mass Maritime. That's a nice little sheltered spot. But we'll talk about, the current can run anywhere from 4 knots to sometimes 5.5 knots. And if you've been in Buzzard's Bay, you know that the southwest wind will crank up to 25 knots. So a little tip that we always use is we'll look at the coastal waters forecast, and if they're calling for 10 to 15 knots out of the southwest, well, that means that it's going to blow 15 to 20. It's always downplayed a little bit on the coastal waters forecast, so keep that in mind. The Army Corps of Engineers controls the Hog Island Channel and the Cape Cod Canal. If you find yourself in trouble, best thing to do is get on channel 16. You can call the Coast Guard. Little recommendation for the canal and Hog Island Channel. You don't need to anchor. Believe it or not, if you become disabled, most of the time you're going to stay pretty much in the middle of the canal or drift with the current. So it's not recommended to anchor if you become disabled. You can also contact us right away, and what we do is we notify, if we have a boat nearby, we're going to respond, but we'll also notify the Coast Guard and the Army Corps of Engineers of your situation, just in case they have a boat that's closer. And they'll always put out a broadcast on 16 just in case there's somebody else that's near, right next to you, that can assist and keep you from going on the rocks or anything like that. So channel 16 is definitely the primary way to get assistance on the water. And if you just call the Coast Guard, give them your position, your nature of distress, they're gonna be able to get all the assets necessary. And in Buzzard's Bay, that's quite important, because in Buzzard's Bay, with the wind blowing 25 knots and with the current, you may not have a lot of time before you end up in a bad spot. So when we call the Coast Guard, it's always good to give them your position, the nature of distress, and the number of people you have on board. Those are the questions they're going to ask you. So if you actually plan ahead a little bit and you have that information handy, it's just going to expedite and speed up the process for you. If you're disabled in Buzzard's Bay, or you know, you need a battery jump. That's not really considered a distress situation. So if you're out of the canal, go ahead and get the anchor down. Give us a call, TowBoatUS, and we'll get a boat right over to you. Like I said, we're right here on the water right now. Boats going by us. We're ready to respond to any BoatUS member that needs assistance. That's why we're out here. So a couple of things that you also have to be careful of in Buzzards Bay is rocks. So you got some factors working against you with your boating. You got wind, current, and rocks. So it's really important. It's really important for you to be able to navigate your vessel safely and take all those factors in play so that you don't end up in a bad situation with your vessel.